where to find and not to find a lawyer. So at the moment, the number one way people find lawyers is through word of mouth. And I put that actually positive and negative referrals, because I hear a lot of people sort of say, oh, well, I went to, my best friend and I asked her for a family law referral, and she actually told me all the lawyers not to go to because they're terrible. So now I'm sort of left with, a negative referral essentially. And look, word of mouth is really good. And that's sort of what we kind of leverage off in Legally Yours a bit. We are that word of mouth. But I guess one of the sort of the negative things about a word of mouth referral is often people don't necessarily want to divulge that they're looking for a lawyer. Sometimes it can be a very personal matter, particularly when you start looking at sort of, family law and those sorts of things. So you're not always sort of wanting to go up and say to people, I need a lawyer, because, you might not want to share that business with them. And also, I think that it's incredibly important that I guess the one thing I'm really proud of at Legally Yours is because we vet all of our lawyers so stringently, and we're only looking for lawyers that are fixed fee or value-based pricing that put clients at the centre. I can very proudly say every client that I connect with a Legally Yours lawyer, I know is going to be a great fit, and we're there to help in that transaction. So, word of mouth, Google search, and as I mentioned in that video, I don't know if anyone listening has actually Google searched I need a lawyer, but when you do, it's pretty confusing because it's just come lots of different websites, and lawyers tend to have a bit of a formula in how they market themselves online, and sometimes it's often really hard to kind of cipher through, and often the really good ones aren't on that first page because it's often the firms that have been able to pay the most in marketing that get to be at that front bit. So I would say Google search is not the best way to find the best lawyer for you, and it's really hard to sift through and can be quite confusing. And then, as I mentioned, family and friends is a big one, but often that's not always, the best way to do it. And also, family and friends might think something differently or refer you to someone that might not be exactly what you're looking for. So that can be quite, confusing. Strangers at the dog park. This one comes up a lot. So when we first started Legally Yours, we actually went around and did a lot of boxing and client survey, just asking random people, how would you find a lawyer? How would you find a lawyer? And it seems that people, when they go to the dog park, often talk about legal things. And so that was one way that people were trying to find a lawyer. That was really interesting. And again, I'd say probably not the best way, because that person's not necessarily going to know you and your circumstances. And as you and I both know, Jackie, the lawyer that you build that trusted relationship with can have a massive impact on your legal matter and the direction that you go. So it's something that you really do need to get right, and you need to get a lawyer that's right with your communication style, and fit for you. And then there are different types of referral services. Obviously, Legally Yours is one, but there are other ones out there where you can find a lawyer. The only thing I'd probably say is that a lot of them tend to be pitching platforms. So you can actually go on and put, a bid up for your work and lawyers bid for you. Again, that might be something you want to explore. I guess the focus and the difference that we do at Legally Yours is we're about building a relationship. So, we realised very early on that the relationship between client and lawyer is very personal, and it's built on trust. And you really have to have that great fit and communication style, and, trust that lawyer can really help you in your legal circumstance. So, we very much focus on the relationship, but yeah, there are also those pitching platforms out there. So it's all sort of different types. But and feel free, Jackie, to interrupt and ask me questions at any point.
I was going to let you get to the end of your slide, because I love all your points, and it's so true. And what I love particularly about Legally Yours is that everyone's vetted. So in those other referral services, they're not. It's just anyone can get on there, pay the fee. And same thing with the Law Institute. Like in the past, we've often sent a lot of people to the Law Institute if we didn't serve them, and that referral service on the Law Institute page is just so hard to find someone. And in the second week of the course, we talk about skill level versus skill set as well. And particularly on the Law Institute page, everyone puts themselves down to be able to do everything, but in fact, they're not very highly skilled at those things.
Yeah.
And yeah, word of mouth too, I think that, you know, if one person has a great experience with a lawyer, they quite often want to recommend everyone, which is great. But the problem is as well is that, like, if you only practice law in a particular area and you refer something from another area, sorry, it would just, it's either not right for you to take it on, or
Well, 100%
mm,
true. And so, you know,
mm,
what we find with Legally Yours members is that often the lawyers are referring work to each other within the network, because what they know as a member of Legally Yours is that you're going to get the same type of service when you recommend your clients. So,
yeah,
for instance, you know, if you're in estate planning and your client needs a family law recommendation, often they will come to you, even though you don't do
that's
family
right.
law. But that's because, you know, they trust you and they have that relationship. So, what you then know is if you refer it to someone in the Legally Yours network, you're going to get that same type of attitude to their clients and their care, and obviously the same pricing model as well, which is incredibly important because, you know, I know lawyers that sometimes they reluctantly refer on
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, they're worried that then that client relationship's going to be destroyed by another lawyer coming in and not,
Yep.
you know, acting in the way that they do. So yeah, I think it's really you know, a really important point to
Mm,
make.
mm.
Yeah, which is
And
really.
I think another really nice point about your service as well is that people can actually try someone out too.
Mm.
So they can confirm what they think, the, you know, get a set fee or a quote, but they can just have a quick conversation, see how the interaction goes, see how quickly the response is, see if the language, yeah, it's great.
Absolutely. And we do videos. So as you've experienced, we make every single lawyer member do a video with us, and sometimes multiple videos. The premise behind that is not because, you know, I love being on camera and I try and make the lawyers get on camera, but it's actually because we really want clients to, or potential clients, to be able to see how that lawyer communicates. Because, you know, one of the other things that, you know, and certainly one of the biggest barriers that clients have connecting and accessing lawyers is this fear factor. This fear factor, you know, yes, around price, but also sometimes it's a really scary interaction. And, you know, you can be a bit scared about approaching that lawyer. How are they going to talk? How are they going to look at me? How are they going to communicate with me? So we want to be able to show on the platform, and you can access their videos, you know, underneath their profile, to actually see, you know, this is how this lawyer, you know, communicates and talks and laughs and smiles, because it is a really personal relationship, and we want to sort of help with that interaction and also bring about, you know, the bit of the humanity into the lawyer. We're not scary people. You know, we're friends, daughters, sisters, brothers, uncles, parents. You know, we're the same too. So